Start off with saying that I'm glad that you all are here. I'm glad that you took the time to spend this time for us to look at self-awareness and leadership. My name is DeBorah Gilbert White, and I am the Director of Education at the National Coalition for the Homeless in Washington, D.C. And in that capacity, I also coordinate the Speakers Bureau for the coalition as well. And then also, I am the lead personal growth and development practitioner for an organization called Spark Coaching. And that is an acronym for self-perception, awareness, reflection, and knowledge. And it's to support personal growth and development for people with the lived experience of homelessness. My background, I'm a social psychologist. I've always been interested in seeing, how we interconnect and connect with each other, and the impact that we have as human beings on each other, come with our different realities and our diversity, and just the things that make us similar, but also the things that make us different. And oftentimes, the things that make us different are the things that can get in the way when we don't have a fuller understanding and awareness of each other and how we can connect with each other. And so today, this session is about really doing some introspective work, looking at, what does it mean to be a leader with the with the lived experience of homelessness, and how does it work for us, when we don't know or we do know our level of self-awareness. I experienced homelessness in 2011, and coming out of that experience, I realized that many of the tables that we were sitting at and many of the people that we were engaging with oftentimes had this feeling in the meetings and in the committees, that for some reason they felt that they didn't belong. For whatever reason, I don't know if it was the culture of the organization, I don't know if it was the culture of the community that they were in, but sometimes we walk into these places and we're not made to feel that we belong. And so that's why I thought it was important to have this type of conversation with you today, to see, what can we look at to build upon removing any feelings and beliefs of not being authentic enough to do this work. I welcome you to this community, and we just have a few guidelines, because whenever you're doing introspective work, it's time to know that it can be triggering in some ways, and also it's not a conversation that we have lightly, and it's not a conversation that we have often. Oftentimes we're not thinking about, ourselves. We live in a society that pushes for us to think about others, which is all right, but sometimes we carry that banner so high to our own detriment. And it's not wrong to think about yourself, to think about what you need in doing this work. And so hopefully as we move through our time together today, that you will begin to think about the things that you need, the things that you have, the strengths that you have, the tools that you have already, because you already got what you need. It's just like learning how to use them in ways that will benefit the work that you are asked to do, or as you move into leadership. So today, what I would like to ask is that we enter this community caring for self and for others. We come with different life experiences, multiple realities, and a diversity of meanings made of those experiences and realities. So let's suspend judgment we place on self and on others. I ask that you enter this space courageous and open to learning more about yourself, specifically our strengths, and what we currently have that can be built upon for personal growth and development. We each will benefit from the continuous journey that leads us to becoming our best self. As individuals with the lived experience of homelessness and leadership, and as individuals who do not have that specific lived experience, however, we'll be connecting and working with those with lived experience of homelessness and leadership. We each need courage to explore what we are bringing to the work when we step into that workplace, that community meeting, or other forms of engagement. And finally, I want us to step into the space as community. Although our time is focused on the self, Addressing social justice issues like homelessness calls us to be in community. We cannot do it by ourselves. We need everybody pulling together to get done what needs to be done. And this is the opportunity to identify the strengths you have today that you can build on, that can support your leadership aspirations. Can we each agree to be caring, courageous, and community in the space today? Yeah. Great, okay, I'm in the right place. We're all in the right place. Okay. Okay, self-awareness and leadership. Self-awareness is at the heart of the journey for what we're doing here today. And at the heart of the journey is being able to have the ability to understand your thoughts, your feelings, and behaviors, and their impact on other people. You know, our situations and circumstances happen to us each and every day throughout our lives. We will continue to have, we'll continue to live, we're going to continue to have circumstances and situations. But the thoughts that we have about those situations, whether they be negative or positive or somewhere in between, and the thoughts and the feelings that come from those thoughts impact the behaviors that we have connected to those situations. And so what I ask is that you start to think reflectively about, you know, as with your experience of life, your life experience of homelessness, have you framed it in a way that makes you a victor or a victim? Because that's important in how you continue to address and move forward in leadership. You have to know how you're framing it. And if you want to change that framing, you have the power to do that. So you have to look at, you know, what is the meaning I made of my homelessness? When I experienced homelessness, I felt it was calling me to something higher, and it has. I laid in that shelter bed and I said, you know, what is this about? It's about something, okay? It's about something, and I knew that it was preparing me for something that was bigger that I couldn't even think about at that time. And so I had to take on a victor mentality and a mindset to do that. So let's get started. One consideration connected to self-awareness is how you as an individual perceive and think about yourself. What are the meanings you have made and beliefs you hold about yourself connected to life situations, circumstances, and experiences? Just take a moment to reflect on self. What are the thoughts you hold about you? What are the thoughts you hold about you? And if you want to take the time to write that down, you know, just do so, because I find that when we write our thoughts down, that's helpful as well. And one of our questions in the Hoover app, as we were preparing for our time here today, you know, asked what was your greatest struggle as a person with a lived experience of homelessness and seeing yourself as a leader. What is your greatest struggle as a person with a lived experience of homelessness, as seeing yourself as a leader? And also, what is the greatest struggle as a person without the lived experience of homelessness, working with people, alongside people in community who have the lived experience of homelessness? And I'll open up the floor right now, you know, as you think about that, for someone to share. You know, what do you struggle with?
So this is something I've struggled with even here, being a neurodivergent person, and being someone with lived experience of homelessness and someone with a lot of trauma. It can be hard to articulate my thoughts clearly. And in a leadership position, you know, it is crucial to be able to communicate. So the biggest struggle I've had is being able to speak up for myself and say, I need these accommodations. I need to be able to fidget with something. I need to be able to write my thoughts down first. I need to have the interview questions in advance. I need to know what I'm going to say before I say it. And being able to advocate for myself and, you know, believe that I have the right to those things. Because disability is very stigmatized, yes. Even in these spaces. So,
what is your name?
Jay. I'm Jay. I'm with Youth and Family Services. I'm a case manager and co-chair of the El Dorado County Lived Experience Advisory Board.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Hi, my name's Karen from Santa Clara County, and I was the founder of our YAB and then moved on to be staff for our YAB. And I was the first intentionally hired lived experience person to do that work, so that in itself was hard as stepping into a leadership role and having maybe not the like guidance that I needed. But to answer your question, it was struggling to like allow myself to make mistakes and not and like I would carry that like it's on my shoulders, but like I constantly have to remind myself to this day, like even yesterday when I went to therapy, it was like, this is not on my shoulders, this is like a departmental, you know, mistake, and we're gonna be improving, but just to not put that on my shoulders. But yeah, I struggle a lot with like carrying stuff on my shoulders.
Okay,
One of the things I struggle with is imposter syndrome, really bad. Like, you know, I have that constantly lingering fear that they're gonna think that they're gonna find out I'm a fraud, that I really don't belong here, I'm not good enough to be here. Even though truly I do know that I have earned my way here, I have worked my way to be in the position that I am in, but I do very much struggle with the fact that, am I worthy enough for this position? Am I worthy enough to be here? Am I enough for this? Only because I do come from trauma and, you know, many years of homelessness and all that comes with it, right? But I have worked my way from the ground up to be in the position I am today, but it's still, sometimes it's hard for myself to accept that.
Thank you for that. I think that's something that many of us will struggle with because we're being asked and pulled in different ways to look at things differently, to be different in a setting that we're not familiar with, but one that we are there, we are probably the person there to make the change. And so, you know, how do we take that on? You know, how do we take that on? But also understanding and understanding what we're bringing to that as we do the work. Okay, we're going to do a little exercise right now, and each of you are going to get a bag. Okay, each of us is going to get a bag. And what I want you to do, the first thing to do, don't open the bag yet, just put your name on it. There's a label on the bag. I want you to put your name on it. And then we're going to go through that bag. This is your bag.
This is my bag?
Yeah, this is your bag.
Take it home, everything? My bag?
We're going to find out what's in your bag.
My bag.
So, you know, we want to take this kind of focus on our strengths because we want to start from where we are today. The fact that you are here at this conference, the fact that you're doing the work in community that you're doing, means that you have some strengths that you have brought with you into this environment and into the work that you do, the environments that you do your work in. And so we've got to name those strengths and look at, you know, what we can build upon from those strengths. What do you need to know about self-full leadership? A good place to start is knowing your strengths. Knowing your strengths and utilizing them effectively supports you to meet set goals. Many of us hold talents and skills that naturally support us in the work we do. Many of us know what our purpose is on this earth. Having that information is helpful to staying on our path and remaining focused on what we know we are to do. So once you have your name on the bag, I want you to open up the bag. You're going to see a white slip of paper in there, a folded white paper. Take that paper out and open up that paper. This is a strengths exploration sheet. Please take a few minutes to identify what you consider a strength for you from the sheet. If a strength you consider you have is not listed, the last row of the sheet provides space to write it in. So,
Thank you.
This one? No, whatever's on that list, if you see that's a strength, you know, circle it. We have more than one strength, you know. And then if you don't see it on the sheet, write it in on the last row. There should be 4 spaces there to write it in. We'll give you a few moments to do that. How many of you found one strength, at least one strength? Okay. How about 3 strengths? Okay. 5? Okay, I'm getting scared here. 10? Okay. And how many of you had to write in? Okay, great. Okay, we're going to get started. What strengths do I have? What strengths do I need? Who feels like sharing?
I'm Alicia Diane Roden, and my strengths are empathy, kindness, open-mindedness, persistence, patience, gratitude, love of learning, spirituality, confidence, intelligence, and adventurous and assertiveness.
Okay. What I'm going to do also, I forgot, just share one strength. No, it's all right, you didn't know, I didn't say it. That was me, that was me. Just share one strength and how you could see that being used in leadership. So which one you want to pick in
Persistence.
persistence, and how do you see that being used in leadership?
I like to motivate people. I love to say.
Speak in the mic. Sorry.
I like to motivate people. I like to see people achieving their greatness. Even when they say, I don't know, Alicia. I like to say, I think you can do this, and help people, and that gives people the will to help others. And I don't give up. I'm not a give up person. Even when people say, I can't do something, I say, let me show you what I can do.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you. Persistent. Who else? Who else wants to share one and why it's important for your leadership?
The one I put was my optimism. The reason why I say that is because lots of times you can look at things and bump your head several times, and after a while it starts to hurt. But I keep saying, well, there's got to be something better, or there's got to be. So I think that's how that can be optimism. Since this, they say that what we've been hearing since we've been here is that this is a long battle.
It's a protracted struggle. It is. Yes.
I had
What's your name? What's your name?
Mandy, and I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I circled wisdom, and what I'm realizing is a lot of these that I circled, I have either grown in since as I look back on my trauma, and as the time gets further away from some of the trauma, I've either grown in them or my awareness of them has grown. And wisdom would be one of those.
And how do you see using that wisdom as you pursue leadership aspirations?
So I'm working on my doctorate right now, and it is focusing on lived experience. And I'm an advisor to the Homeless Advocacy Board in Lancaster. And Angelina's part of that group as well. And I've just been so affirmed in some of the decisions that I've made about how to form that group and the things that we've needed to address and cover. As I've been here at this conference, it's just been really affirming that the stuff that I knew in my gut was important is being really affirmed as being the stuff that needs to be addressed.
And that's what I said earlier. I said we already have what we need. We just got to see, how we utilize it and where we utilize it. Who's next?
I just want to give a strength that I do need, because everyone's going to learn something I have. One I don't have, and it's probably forgiveness and open-mindedness. Because of my lived experience and the trauma that I've been through, it has been very hard for me to do this advocacy work while being open to hearing people's opinions that are oppressors, and trying to show grace with their wrongdoings and thinking they deserve a second chance, when it's like, I have to live with my trauma for the rest of my life. Why do you get grace? I get none, and I'm here forever. So that's been very hard, and working with a lot of people with privilege is a very hard thing to do, and they're saying, oh, we want to help and we're so kind. I'm like, you wouldn't know struggle if it slapped you in the face. So that's the strength I need.
I thank you for your honesty, and I thank you for putting that in the room.
Oh, and honesty is my strength. So. That's the first one I circled, best believe.
Yeah, I thank you for doing that, because I think sometimes it's hard when we want to, be in these spaces. We don't want to make waves. We want, I'm a tree shaker. I shake the trees. But the thing is that sometimes we want to see, how we fit in, or if we fit in, and oftentimes the things that we need to say, the reason why we're in that room, we got to say it. And so, what you just expressed is that, you gotta say, speak truth to power, they say, and look at expanding the narrative around, this whole issue of homelessness and people with lived experiences, because even among us, we have some kind of, pieces there that we need to work on, you know, whether you experience street homelessness, sheltered homelessness, couch surfing, you know, whatever, how long you were homeless or how long ago you were homeless, you know, all those things come up in conversations, and it affects the attitudes that people have toward each other in doing this work. Okay, let's see who else. What's the strength? Okay.
My name is Tamika Martinez from Las Vegas, Nevada. And it's one that I wrote in, actually, and it was accountability. So I think it's extremely important that you hold yourself accountable for any of your actions, and also if you're in a leadership position to show your colleagues, you know, that as well, because not everybody wants to say, oh, I did do that, I made that mistake. But I think it's a form of empowerment to be able to stand up and not sit there and point the finger and always blame somebody else for what happened, but be like, you know, yes, I did do that. I was wrong, I made a mistake, and I will correct it. So,
hi, my name is Angel. I picked kind of based off of Angelina's answer, like not based off that, but it kind of goes hand in hand. Mine's cooperation with people, because I can speak up on things, and I do, and I will, but I come with this kind of like, part of my trauma comes with like, you did this, or you're doing this, and it's hurting people, or like, you know, you're hurting me, and I get very protective of that bubble. And then I think with some situations, like I need to learn how to be cooperative and give room for that person too. And that is something I need to work on. So I wouldn't say that's what I need, is to be better cooperative with individuals.
Thank you, and I remember meeting you at dinner last night, so yeah, we was at the same table. And I think cooperative, but also setting boundaries, you know, for ourselves and others, because you're right, people will have well intentions, but can also be harmful as well in how they go about doing that good. And so we have to set boundaries as well to protect ourselves and to protect others. This next slide is about life experiences and processing trauma. And we all have and will continue to experience life in ways that can build us up or tear us down. We don't have to think too long or hard about those experiences, knowing that they represent levels of emotional, physical, and psychological distress that we come to understand as trauma, called trauma. People experience trauma before, during, and after homelessness. The thoughts we hold and the meanings or meanings we make about our trauma can create the feelings about our experiences and the feelings we have about self and others who are connected to us through that trauma. Sometimes the trauma is so deep that we do not know how or want to name it. However, on the journey to greater self-awareness, we must find ways to name it. We must find ways to process our trauma. And we do that in different ways. There's no one way to do it. You have to find a way that works for you. But understand what can trigger our trauma, and in processing it, learn to let go of what does not serve us in meeting our goals. So we can, you know, we're going to go through trauma, whether it's from childhood up to adulthood. We're going to meet trauma. You know, it's around, it's there. It's going to, as long as we're living, there's going to be some type of traumatic situation that happens to cause us to go. But what do we do with those feelings, and how are we able to name it? You know, I think part of the self-awareness is being able to name the trauma, being honest with yourself. You know, this is what I'm going through, this is what happened to me, this is how I'm feeling about it. You know, and what are the meanings that we made about it? Go back to what I said earlier. Are you coming out of this trauma? Are you coming through this trauma, you know, as a victim or a victor? You know, are you, or, you know, what's the mentality that you have around it? Because that makes a big difference in how other people perceive you, but most importantly, how you perceive yourself. How you perceive yourself. And then knowing your triggers. I know for myself, one of the triggers that I have when I'm working with people in community and sitting in meetings is that part of my trauma had to do with somebody making a decision for me that I had no voice in. And so when I'm sitting in a meeting and somebody's making decisions and doing things that involve me, or something that impacts me or my people, and I have nothing to say about it or no input in it, it triggers my trauma. But it took me a while to make those connections. It took me a while. So when I'm sitting in a meeting that's happening, it goes back to the trauma of my childhood. not having choice in the matter. And so that's important as you could begin to continue to do your self-awareness piece. And this is not something that, you take a session or workshop or whatever. This is something ongoing. It's ongoing. So you have to continue to ask yourself questions that will take you to being your better self. And then letting go of those things that don't serve you in what you're trying to do. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. And that's hard. That's hard for me to let it go. Because it's not serving. It's not serving me. And I'm still working on some things now that I need to let go, but I ain't there yet. I'm not there yet. Now, we asked this question a little earlier and it was answered. But if you notice with this graphic here, it shows people working together, okay, putting a puzzle together, bringing the pieces of who they are to a situation, and so, how do we continue to move forward and to work together with people that come with all kind of different ideas and experiences and biases and prejudices, and we have our own as well. How do we work together to bring an end to homelessness and to serve as leaders in this capacity? And so if there's anyone else that wants to add anything to this, we'll open up the floor for that as well. Because I want y'all to be able to share, what the thoughts are you are having connected to being leaders, and especially working in this framework of lived experience for organizations and community groups.
I definitely struggle with the performative and professionalism of it all, like sitting in boardrooms and sitting on panels. You have to, well, I've noticed, because I'm not, but I've noticed other people try and keep their answers very almost neutral and appeasing to whoever they're speaking in front of or speaking around of. And for me, I've always been authentic. I'm not going to filter myself. I will not. I never have. I don't even think I can do it. So it's just been very different for me to learn how to interact with those type of people when I know they're being performative and I am being authentic, because I feel like I have to filter myself almost because I'm doing too much, but they're not doing enough. I sat with this shelter person decided to do 24 hours on a bench and sit on a bench overnight to highlight homeless, I don't know, pretending to be homeless for a night. That's not what he was doing, but that's what he was doing. And he was live streaming it, and I'm sitting there talking with him, and the whole time I'm trying to have a real conversation with him, and he's trying to appease his board members who are watching. And I'm giving him real questions, and he's not giving me real answers, and I'm pushing back, and I'm not letting him give me those placated, well, we have spots we need to fix. And I'm like, no, you have genuine issues, we're not. So it's hard for me to interact with those people and keep it cute and professional when I know they're not being honest with me.
Hi, my name is Kayla. I am from Dane County, Wisconsin, and support our Youth Action Board. Also do a lot of lived experience advocacy and leadership within our local consortium and other statewide things. And kind of thinking back to the activity you had us do, I was able to name a lot of strengths that I have. And so as I was naming them, I was thinking about situations where it was clear to me that I had that strength. And so I did find that there was a lot of strengths that I was able to say, yeah, people have told me this, or I've performed this way, or I've done this thing. But the one that I didn't circle that was really interesting to me was confidence. And I think that a lot of what I was realizing was that the strengths that I was comfortable checking off were the things that I've been validated in. And so I would say that the biggest struggle that I have as a person with lived experience of homelessness in our work is the confidence. And I think with that, a lot of the microaggressions cut deep and quick. And so, yeah, it can be, I think, a hard cycle to break out of. Is just attempting to really prove myself, and then overworking, draining myself, and then feeling, again, like, well, why would I be confident in the first place? So.
You said a whole lot right there. You said a whole lot right there. Oh my God. Yeah, because if you framed everything around what people have confirmed for you, but what you have not really confirmed for yourself, and that's why this conversation is key, because what are you confirming about yourself that will allow you to continue to move toward your leadership aspirations. I'm still chewing on what you said, because there was a whole lot there. But I'm glad that you had the insight to share it. And so you know where your starting point is. You know where your work is for you. Okay. Okay, someone else?
Karen again from Santa Clara County. I think one of my biggest struggles, and this is for the previous question, right? Is I think I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Me? Yes, Angelina.
Angelina touched on this earlier. That kind of reminded me about, code switching. So I'm from this county, so some of our local leaders and deputy executives came last night to the art exhibit, and that's great. And I saw there were several people that were talking with them from, from my department, and I thought they would have invited me to speak with them, but I was like, actually, I don't really want to be in that circle, because I know I'm gonna have to code switch, and I don't really care to put my energy into code switching. And so I was like, it's a lot, and I'm like, dude, if you don't want to connect with me on a human level, outside of your work, outside of this political politeness culture in our work, because I do work in government, I'm just not. I don't care, and if you think that I don't care, that's fine, because I have my bosses that do know that I care, and they're talking with you, and that's fine. I'm just gonna leave that word to them. So yeah, that's my biggest struggle, but also my strength, it was gratitude, because I feel like I can find that gratitude in those different situations all the time, and that helps guide me in my own path. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. The next slide, I'm looking at what is your superpower? Okay. I've been on many Zooms, and the question, well, what is your superpower? And for myself, my superpower is what I have come to learn is a strength, is to, I'm a connector. I connect people. I don't have to be in the room. I don't have to, have a direct contact with you, but I'm able to connect people, and I recognize that's my superpower. And then I leave people to do what they need to do to, move forward in their goals, or to, do the efforts that they are doing around this whole work of ending and preventing homelessness. And so I want you to think about your strengths, and either, if it's not a strength that you see right now, but what do you think is your superpower, and how you can use it for leadership? It may be something that we already talked about, it may not be. Yes, sir. Let's two of them right there. Okay. What do you think your superpower is?
Hi, so my name is Z. My pronouns are she, her. I live in Hawaii. And I would say, without a doubt, my superpower is outlouding things. It's kind of a phrase that I kind of coined when I started my consulting gig, because I feel like in professional spaces, we often talk about elevating, right? So I feel like specifically in the lived experience places, those who don't have lived experience want to bring us to the table in an effort to elevate our experiences. And so I found that the word elevate, it didn't fit for what my superpower is and for what I do. So I kind of created a new word and a definition, and for me, elevating, things have to already be on the table, right? The issue is on the table, and we bring people forward to elevate it. Outlouding things is digging under the moldy foundation of the house and ripping it out and washing it off so that it's palatable even to be on the table, so that other people can then elevate it. So for me, my superpower is outlouding things. I walk into spaces and I say the things out loud that absolutely nobody wants to hear, that makes everybody uncomfortable, but I also do it with humor. And so just bringing it, the thing, it has to get to the table, right? A lot of the work that I do is in disability access, neurodivergence training, right? So it's walking into spaces and it's saying things like, where's the ASL interpreter and where's the copies of the agenda in Braille? I get that nobody checked a box that they need that, but I don't owe you my trauma. And so I don't want to have to check a box ever. I just want there to be a low sensory room that's accessible 24 hours a day with a screen so that I can participate, right? Like out louding issues. That is absolutely my strength, and that's how I use it for leadership.
I like that. I'm going to take that with you. Out loud. I like that. Yeah, I think what you said is so important as well because, you know, we should normalize. It should be normalized what you just said. You shouldn't have to check a box about it. This could be what's in the environment, and so how we're looking out and caring for those needs of people that could be in the environment, coming with the different diversity that we're reaching. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Z.
One of the things that I wanted to say was, first off, I forgot to say my name last time. My name is Delphia Bazell, and I'm from Boston, Mass.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that's my superpower is my humility, because by me being humble, it makes me a connector as well. It makes me relatable, and so I think that's a superpower.
My name is Alicia Roy, and I'm from Los Angeles. I have to say my superpower is motivation. I will motivate a person until the end, because I believe people have the right to have knowledge, have the right to better themselves. But you know, I'm the greatest motivator in myself, because I believe in myself. If I'm gonna motivate you, I have to do it. So I believe in motivation. I'm persistent. I'll say, here's an email, here's a class, because sometimes as lived experience, we're thought of as don't know nothing. So I have that attitude of, okay, we don't know something, let me show your ass. Let me show you I can take this class. Let me show you my peer can be just as good as me. So yeah, I'm the motivator, and I kick doors and I tell my peers, come on, let's do this.
I like that superpower. I like that superpower. I think also as, what's important about being in leadership is not being afraid to share information. You know, share information that will help support each other. Share information that will help expand and include different ideas and different perspectives, you know. We're at these tables, we're in these rooms and, you know, in these communities and doing this work because what we bring to it. What we bring to it and what we have is enough. What we have is enough to help us to begin to make those connections. I'm looking at the time, and so this is like the last exercise we're going to do, and then we'll have some time for comments at the end. But what's the power of thought supporting your journey of self-awareness and leadership? And this goes back to your thinking again, you know, for me, my power thought that supports me when I'm disappointed or when something happens that just doesn't seem to be the way that it should go is I say, until it's done. You know, we were doing work in Delaware looking for working on a homeless bill of rights since 2014, and we're still continuing to work on that, and we get so close to that being voted in the legislature, and then somebody will come up and we won't get enough votes. They won't show up for the vote. And so, you know, but we said, you know, we want to continue this until it's done, because it's got to be done. It's the right thing to do, that the humanity and the rights of people who are identified as homeless, who have lived experience, need to be protected. We already have rights. They just need to be protected. And so that's the work that we do. So what are some of your power thoughts? I mean, what makes you get up in the morning and say, I'm going to do this thing no matter what? How do you, you know, go ahead. How do you keep yourself encouraged?
We got makeup.
Okay,
What do you say?
I'm Jay again. There is always a way. No matter what, there's always a way.
Okay.
Like my superpower, I'm resourceful. Like I came up with nothing. I had to learn everything by myself, and what I learned, there is always a way. Like it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're gonna find an answer. So it's my power.
Okay, let me, I missed something. If you look in your bag again, you're going to see a long strip, it's a colorful piece of paper that says the best is yet to come. Okay, write your power thought on that. You know, write your power thought on that. The best is yet to come. And then as we go around, and I'm sorry I missed that opportunity for you to do that. I forgot it was in the bag.
My name is Theodore, and I'm from Los Angeles, CSH. I work with this lady here. And the thing that motivates me is the fact that, you know, I could drive around or walk to the store and I see people eating out the trash can. And that just breaks my heart. And I like, more got to be done to this.
More's got to be done.
Yeah, and that motivates me to continue to fight to end this homelessness.
I'm motivated because more's got to be done. Okay, that's a power part. That's a power part.
My name is Tiffany. I use they, them pronouns. I live in Ohio. I think for me right now, my power thought is there's good within everyone. I think I've been like experiencing a lot of harm even within this space. And like as I've been here this week, it's been really hard, but really good. And I just keep reminding myself like we're stronger together and we're united. And even when in the hard and messy and in the hurting, like there's still good in everyone. And like we just have to find it and like understand them from a deeper compassionate level of like hurting people sometimes hurt people, but there's goodness in everyone. That's what I'm sitting with. That's my power thought that's keeping me to keep fighting.
Thank you for that, and I'm sorry that you've had some experiences this week that have not been supportive.
This week has been great.
Oh, this week? Okay,
this week has been great.
Okay. But I'm sorry that in the past you've had some experiences that have not been supportive, but thank you for sharing that. Okay, who's next? What's the power for that?
Danica, again. So it's actually kind of similar to what Jay had said. So my power thought is there is a solution. There is always a solution. You may not be able to find it on your own. That's when you lean on your team, lean on your support system and everything, but there's always a solution.
So for me, and this is something that has really come to light, especially after the election, is that as a straight, cisgender, white, middle-class female who is beyond the possibility of childbearing, I hold spaces of privilege. And while I may be concerned or anxious, I have been trying to set that aside as much as possible to be able to hold space for individuals who have, I don't want to say far more, but yeah, far more reasons to be anxious and nervous and stressed and angry. And I can take the space that I'm in and be as calming of a presence as possible for those individuals who just need a space to not be that.
But if you look in your bag again, you're going to see a white postcard. If you want to get on my mailing list, put your information there and make sure you get that to me. I'll be in the next session, the lunch session, doing part of that. So if you can pull up information now, I'll take it. If not, you'll see me at the next session. You can give it to me. This way we can stay in contact if you want to have more information. And then I can share some resources that may be coming down the pipe that could be helpful to you as you continue your journey. I want to thank you today for being here and allowing me to help guide this conversation. Thank the facilitators as well who are running around with the mic. Thank you. And listen, we can do this and we will do this. Thank you for being here.